Dear judges of the International Court of Justice, Nisambula Vinaka and Namaskaram. My name is Shiva Gounden and I come from a remote hill village in the district of Mba called Navoli in Fiji. But today I would like to humbly speak to you as a son of the Pacific. I remember the days when cyclones in our communities were not something to fear, but a moment where we would all gather together as a community in the strongest house in the village, lighting parts of candles to illuminate the spirit of family within us all. We would sit together, eat food, play games, sing songs, and empty buckets filled with water finding its way through the leaks created by the heavy wind. The next day, we knew we wouldn't have school, but again, a time for our community to gather together and help clean up the mess. But that time, we would still have our school intact, with trees being the ones most damaged. That time, we would still have most of our homes still standing tall. That time, we would still have all our families alive to see the next day. This is not the case anymore. We fear when we hear cyclones and the ever-increasing categories and frequencies hitting our Pacific. We fear that we won't have any of the schools left for our children to have an uninterrupted education. We fear that we have families who won't have a home to go back to. We fear we have to pick up the remains of our loved ones from the destruction left behind. Cyclones have wiped the beautiful smiles of our Pacific people. If you come to the Pacific, you will know that our people have the most beautiful smiles, and those smiles reflect the beautiful spirit that we have. Our Pacific was warm, which made our people very warmly. But the warm weather of our Pacific is now scorching hot. Our people are tired. But cyclones are one component of climate issues impacting our Pacific. Sea level rise is something most of our Pacific has to grapple with. Many can say, why don't you just move inland? Why don't you move to a higher ground or to another country? You don't have that choice in places like Tuvalu and Kiribati. The highest point in some of these places is less than 2 meters above sea level. The widest point is 400 meters. People in these communities can't even grow their own food anymore. They can't grow yam, they can't grow ndalo, they can't grow cassava, etc. because the encroaching seawater has salinated their land. They can't drink from their wells anymore. They have had to change their whole lifestyle. There's this beautiful concept in some parts of the Pacific where the word for the umbilical cord of a baby and the word for land is the same thing, whenua. When a baby is born, the little one's whenua is buried in the ancestral whenua or land, and a plant is planted over it. This is the first connection for the little one's journey of life, their first connection to those who walked before them, the first connection to the memories of those places. You don't have that anymore in many places, as the sea has wiped that out. The sea has also wiped a lot of our people's graves. I want you to just take a moment to reflect on that. The spiritual and peaceful resting place of some is not even peaceful anymore. Rest in peace has become rest wherever your bones will end up. All our Pacific people are asking is a life of dignity, is a life where most of our human rights can be realized. Work with us to break these consequences rooted in colonialism, racism, and injustice. My call is to give us that chance. The International Court of Justice, will you hear my call?